Hello everybody. Thank you for the introduction. Welcome to my talk. We are going to approach this interesting topic of efficient Spring Data REST development. First, a few things about myself. I am in the software industry for more than 20 years. I am currently employee at Luxoft Romania. I am currently acting as a Java and web technologies expert. And besides this, I am also an author at Pluralsight and Manning. And I'm displaying here for the beginning uh, this JUnit in Action book that was printed last year because at the end of our session, we are going to have a session of prizes for each you can win 3 pieces of this JUnit in Action for whoever is interested otherwise in this book or any other book from Manning right now. You have here a discount code of 37% that is available during our conference. Now, to move to our topic, what is REST? We are talking about REST, about Spring Data REST, and about how to make it efficient, just to emphasize a few important things, to remind you maybe it is a software architectural style. We would like to allow interoperability between the internet and some computer system. We use some stateless operations, well-known stateless operations. And in general, it works over HTTP, but it's not protocol specific. We can represent the state using different things like JSON, HTML, XML, just addressed to the server. And I say I have to access this URL, this resource, and I want to perform some operation. Most widely used operations: get, post, put, patch, delete. Let's move to our demonstration because our talk will be based on a lot of demonstrations. What do we have here? Would like to demonstrate to start with a Spring Data REST application, to analyze it and to see where we can make it better. We have an entity representing some users at an option, and we would like to manage them with the help of Spring Data REST. What I'm saying here, I will start this application. It is a Spring Boot application, and I will auto wire this auction. It will be created here in this bin. So we read some information about the users that attend that auction, and we load them here into a database, into an in-memory database, and would like to demonstrate how this application works at the very beginning. So we start the application, we'll interact with it, and then we analyze and try to make it more efficient. So our application is starting. And if we take a look here, I will access this URL. The application started on port 8081, and at this users link, we can get all the information about the users. As simple as this for now. But let's think about what we can do here. If I execute this get user one, I will take it nicely. But if I want to execute it again, our application will query again the server and get this information again. What is happening for now? We have this user controller. Yes. And you see here that this is managing the front part, and it is mostly delegating the functionality to the repository. And we may ask ourselves, can we do better? I ask 100 times for the same information. If it was not modified, why should I ask the server again? And here, a first step in making our application more efficient is the use of e-tags. What's an e-tag? It is a header of the HTTP response that will tell us something changed or something is not changed. It is a hash code that is calculated. And if we go here back to our application, we see here that we are also getting an e-tag from the server. This is calculated based on the information from here. We are getting it, and we may decide about it. What we need to do for now in order to get this e-tag is to register these two bins here in the application. One is creating the e-tag, the other one is registering it. And as long as we have it now, let's say I can require the server, hello, you can give me this information only if it was not changed before. So I will say, get me this information if it does not match our recorded e-tag. And you see here, I'm querying it again, and the response body is empty. This is particularly efficient, of course, if we have a big amount of data in the body. Let's just demonstrate that. I will briefly change here the e-tag and say it does not match. I am getting this information again. But I want to do more, and I want to be more efficient and to rely on the Spring Data REST. I will take here a look at the repository, and I may think this repository already comes with a lot of information, with a lot of methods. I'm querying the repository, and then I am exposing here the information through the controller. And if I look here at the level of the controller, I will see that most of the things that I'm doing here is to delegate to the repository. And I may ask myself, cannot I get rid of the controller because it is mostly delegating? It is getting the information and it is forwarding it to our front end. And I have here the opportunity to use this annotation on this user repository interface. I'm saying here I am a repository REST resource, and you may find me at this pass users. I'm restarting the application. It is taking a few seconds. Okay. Started the application. I have a look here. I didn't touch how it was looking like. And I am querying this again. I am getting the same information, but if we compare how it looks like here to how it was looking like before when we were writing our own controller, you see that besides this pure information, I'm provided some support to navigate inside the application. This is very nice and very important because in many cases, you do not know how to interact with the application, how to access the REST functionalities. And here we are not only bypassing this controller, but we are also getting some nice information about how to efficiently walk through the application. Just to tell you that this annotation with past users is here just for convenience, because even if I will remove it by default, and you will see that I don't always want to use the default. By default, this path will be exposed because Spring Data REST wants to help us to be efficient. It will have a look here. We'll say, okay, you are managing some user entity. Then I will expose it through this path users. But let's presume that I want to change it. I'm writing here in Romanian. Even if you're not speaker, I think it will not be a problem. I will demonstrate that I can make it customizable and I will access a different path. Let's restart the application. Always takes a few seconds. That's it. Okay, started. If I look here and I say let's re-access it, is not getting it, but the new URL is here. I have customized everything here. Let me go back to the application. I will leave it now on the default path, even without this annotation. You'll see that by default it will work on users. And I will say, let me try to be more efficient. And Spring Data REST allows us to do this. I would like to be more efficient in the sense of the e tags that I presented. I am allowed to remove these e tags, and I may say what will be the best idea to use as an information if some record, if some entity was changed or not. Spring Data allows me to use this version annotated field, and it will keep a version. It will start with 0, and whenever you will change your entity, it will increase it. So a very good idea is to be more efficient and to replace these bins that are calculating the hash code, and this may be some time that needs to make those calculations, and replace with this version that can play by itself the role of a hashtag. And if I run again this application, takes a few seconds. I will try to get again user with the ID 1. Let me, okay, I'm getting some nicely displayed information as Spring Data REST is providing it. And look here, remember that e tag that was just that hash code calculated. You see here, we have version 0, a shorter thing, and no longer need to waste time to calculate it. It is there. So this is the new e tag provided efficiently by Spring Data REST. And I can simply go here and I say, let me check that I can avoid the useless interaction with the server if I have version 0. You see, I'm getting the same thing. E tag is 0, response body is empty. 304 means not modified. So no need to provide you the information again. Why should I send it to you? You would like to be more efficient. Let's change now this information from user 1. I will patch it. You see something happened on the side of the server. Now the new e tag is 1. I remind you that the e tag is this version. It increased the version from 0 to 1. And let's check again that the e tag does not miss the information now. I am sending, I have the old information, version 0. Oh, the server will understand now that something changed. Version 0 is no longer the last one, and it will provide me the information. If I try here to use get with e tag 1, again, I am getting response body is empty, not modified. So I am doing much better with the use of Spring Data REST. I was able to remove the long code here that was mostly delegating to the repository, and I'm able to better manage the e tag through this version field annotated with @version. But I want to do more, and one question that I can ask myself is, should I always expose everything that the repository provides? And the answer is, of course, in most cases, no. You will like not to expose everything, because now everything is available from the outside. I will go back to this repository REST resource, and I will say here, what if I want not to export anything? I will remove all access to the repository from outside. I will restart here the application. A few seconds, please. Okay, started, and I'm looking here back to the REST commands I prepared. Let's take all users. No, this is not, no way, 404. I'm not exposing anything here. I cannot do anything from what I'm trying here. Nothing works. Okay, this is some extreme situation. In most cases, I will not want to expose everything, but I would like to expose some part of the repository. And one common situation is when you would like to expose some functionality and to reject some functionality. You see here, I have the opportunity to come to override these methods that are inherited from the upper interface. And I say, I'm in general open to be accessed, but I will not allow you to delete whatever you would like. It's not safe to do it from the front end for everybody. Let's restart the application. Okay. Started here. Let's see what I can do with the repository now. May I get anything? Yes, I can get the whole collection, or I can get here one user. May I post? Let's try it. Yes, 201. It's created. May I delete? No, 405. No. Why? Because, of course, I said I will stop here the access to these methods. They are not exported as REST resources. And this is a realistic situation in which you may find yourself trying to make your application more efficient. You expose some functionality of the repository, but you do not expose everything. So we discussed about limiting the access to the whole repository, limiting the access to some methods, but it is also possible that you would like to limit the access to some fields. Let's say here that I would like not to expose this is citizen field through my application and say, okay, let's block it. I will go here and say JSON ignore on the getter. I will restart the application. And we'll try to interact again with it. Let's see here again that it was providing information about name registered citizen. Let me see if it started. Yes. If I go here, citizenship information is hidden because I blocked it from here. You're not exposing, you're controlling the information that you're exposing through this JSON ignore. Just to tell you that we have some nice way to interact with the information from here, just accessing the root of our application, localhost 8081. And here you may see how to make the first steps. What about trying to do some paging here? Maybe. You see, it is indicating that I can do this. And I am paging with the size of 5. I am displayed here 5 records. And I am advised how to nicely navigate here between the pages. Really nice. Okay, what else? Yes, I'm stopping it. I would like to ask myself, may I add some new functions here, new methods? Because you know that Spring Data is providing some easy way to say here, find by name like. So it is following some pattern to create these methods. And I will say, let me return the list of users that have the name like some pattern. Let's see what happens from outside if I introduce this method, that it is following the pattern of Spring Data. So I started the application, and you see that I can directly use this method inside my URI, inside my REST command. So I say find by name like, and I say name like Jack, and it will take the name parameter, it will insert it here and execute this self-generated method. And it will provide me this Jack. Let's see that Jack is here. There is one Jack. Jack Vaughan here. But you see, we have many ones that have JA, start with JA. So if I go here and I say like JA, it will provide me the 4 people that match this pattern. So really nice. I can quickly write the method here following the pattern from Spring Data REST, and it will be quickly exposed. Okay, really nice features, but you may ask yourself, which is the limit of the approach? Spring Data REST has some limits, yes. I would say that you should not use it whenever you have a strong business logic that may go to the controller, because you see, we are getting a really nice shortcut to our repositories. But if you have some business logic between the repository and the front end, Spring Data REST will not be of much help, because it will just provide you the shortcut quickly to the repository. And also, what is remarkable to answer when you ask yourself, when shouldn't I use Spring Data REST? When you have a lot of small changes to the objects, to the entities. Because following this Spring Data idea, whenever you call some method from here, it will work with the whole entity. It will persist it fully. If you change frequently some small things inside an application, an entity, you may ask yourself, is my application really suitable for Spring Data REST? So these are some things to consider. Let's go further in the idea of being efficient. And we have here the possibility to work with events. We have something that is happening on the side of the database. I have a similar application here, and I will say I would like to do whatever I do against that repository, and I would like to do some auxiliary action, maybe some logging. Logging will be a good example. I have 2 possibilities here: to write a listener or to write a handler. What you see here, that listener extends this abstract repository event listener, and I am overriding these methods, while here repository event handler is just annotating these methods. So they are annotated here. They will be automatically discovered by Spring Boot. Let's start this application. Okay, and if I go here and I say, let's post something new, I look here and you see that I am provided this auxiliary action, some logging, both by the handler and the listener, both before and after the event took place. Easy, but useful in the sense of efficiency. Just you may ask yourself, what should I use? It may be a matter of personal preference, but as long as both the listeners and the handlers are providing the same functionality. And I check here that all the 10 methods that are provided by the event listener translate in some annotations that exist at the level of the handler. So I was saying the pure functionality looks the same. I would opt for handlers because I will not need to extend anything. Here I will hang myself in some hierarchy, while with handler I am fully free to use annotations, so meta information. Okay, what else? How can I make my application nicer? How can I be more efficient? I can work with projections and excerpts. There are situations when you would like not to expose everything in the default view, as in the default view. Okay, you have some restrictions, as we emphasized a little earlier, about how to provide controlled access to the repository, to the methods, to the fields themselves. But what about different views? Like I'm looking in a database and I want to have different views. And this is where projections and excerpts help me be more efficient and do this job. And I go here to this next project that is doing the same, but with a small variations. If I go here, you see that I have user projection. Interface annotated here with projection, name summary. It works with entity user. And I say, oh, I will not expose everything, but I will expose the name. And I added here some new entity address. I will expose the address, but not just like field after field. I will nicely display it. Here I have get address, and I'm using this annotation value with target address to string. This is a string expression language. So I'm exposing only this field and the address, but the way I want to display it. Let's see how this goes here. Starts in a few seconds, of course. So I will take this URL from here. It is in using this projection summary. Let's have it here. You see, I am displaying the name and the address the way I wanted it with the toString method. If I go here, you see by default, meaning that not passing through that projection, it will say address like here and will provide me some additional information. While here I have the possibility to change it or display it through this projection. We have the possibility to go by default at the level of the whole collection and say here user repository. For the whole collection, this term of excerpt is used. So when I add this excerpt here, it will mean that by default here, when I access users, the root, I will apply this projection. So let's have it here. You see, by default, the whole collection is displayed with this nicely address, and without those additional fields. Of course, if I will go back and say, oh, let's forget about it, I will be displayed the information as usual. I'm very flexible here. It is possible that you have some projection that it is really looking nice to you and you would like to use it by default to display the whole collection using what it is called an excerpt. And you will instruct your repository to go this way. Otherwise, we will go back to the previously displayed way. And would like to do some more. So talk here about projection and excerpts. Something brief about moving to reactive repositories. Reactive programming is now popular, is increasing, and Spring Data REST is providing some possibilities to use it. How? We have here the possibility to work with reactive repositories. They look very close to the repositories that we know from the usual Spring data, but they return something reactive, like Flux here. I'm extending this R2DBC repository instead of JAPA repository, and I'm returning here a Flux. I have here some nice things to signal and some limitations. What does it mean in general reactive? Reactive means that I would like to access the repository and not to be blocked. JDBC is by default blocking. So I access the repository and I am blocked until I receive everything. I would like to go the reactive way, so taking data as streams. What we have to emphasize here is that unlike how it is working Spring Boot, we have to do a few things, at least that for the moment, by hand. By default, Spring Boot was looking for things like schema.sql or data SQL on the class path, and it was executing them. For the moment, this reactive application is not doing it, so we had to help Spring Boot to create the schema, providing this configuration that is otherwise using this schema SQL. And also we cannot go by shortcut to this repository as we were previously doing here with repository REST resource. We have to create our controllers by ourselves. And we say that we are expecting the nice thing to happen to get data in a stream, not blocking. I started here the application. And if I go here, let's execute this. So I'm expecting data to flow to me. You see, it is not happening anything. Uh-oh. What's happening? I am blocked, even worse than in the case of blocking JDBC. Okay, something happened. What's happening? The problem is not all clients can access the reactive service in a reactive way. And if we want to do our demonstration nicely, I will use some client that it is really able now to go reactive. And this is Google Chrome. And you see that data now is flowing to us in a stream nicely, one pieces by pieces, or here we may buffer things. So we may say Spring Data Reactive is an alternative, but we should wait a little more for it to do more things. And as we are approaching our end of the talk, before moving to the questions that I'm looking forward for them, I was saying that we have some contest for 3 free books, JMRIT in Action. You are going to be provided a link to answer 3 questions, and here you may also scan this code, this QR code, and get into there. Leave your email, name. I will see who are the first 3 to answer correctly to the questions that are based on our talk and on our demonstrations, and I will contact you.